Welcome to today's discussion on web browsers. This is the 8th lecture in the series on web-based technologies and multimedia applications course. In this lecture, what we will do is initially we will be covering a bit about the project Loon, which we were discussing in the earlier lecture, and then we will move to the web browsers. So, the objective of today's lecture is that to know about the evolution of project Loon and then to learn about the browsers. As we have already discussed earlier, Project Loon is from Google. The objective is to provide internet access in the remote areas and to those areas during pandemics and to those areas during such times when earthquakes and other things take place and people are not having access to the internet. And then what we will do is we will be learning about the browsers. Every one of us use browser every day whenever we access internet. However, we don't know about their history, how the browsers used to be earlier and what we can expect in the future. So, all these things we will be covering in today's lecture. So, first of all, let us see the evolution of Project Loon. It all started in 2011 when they got the idea of providing internet access with the help of balloons. The idea's testing phase started. So, one of the balloons traveled 5 lakh kilometers in 2013 in 22 days. The first Wi-Fi connection was established with a person in New Zealand in 2013. He connected to a balloon powered internet through an internet antenna attached to the roof of the home. So, you just imagine a person is living in a house, he does not have access to internet, and it is not that he is not having access to the internet, but nobody in that area is having access to internet. There were no mobile towers, there is nothing. So, then a balloon lands there and all the houses whoever are having interest to access the internet will have antenna attached to the roof of their homes. So, once the balloon lands, this particular antenna and the mobile tower which is landing on the balloon, of course the balloon is having the mobile tower which is landing, will be connecting to the antenna on the roof of the home and provides internet access to the people within the home or the people within the range. So, that is how this Project Loon is helping many people in accessing the internet. The first LTE connection was established in 2014 for a school in the Brazil. LTE stands for long term evolution. Also in 2014, Loon balloons completed traveling 3 million kilometers in stratosphere. There is no need for you to worry on hearing the word stratosphere. Earth is having different layers and stratosphere is one. Of course, we don't need to dwell much into it. In case anybody wants to know about stratosphere further, they can just go to the internet and find out as much information as they need. In 2015, the operations were scaled up with auto launcher. It can fill, lift and launch tennis court sized balloons within 30 minutes. In 2016, one of the balloons was aloft in airspace for a total of 98 days. In 2017, emergency connectivity was provided in Peru's flood hit areas by the Loon balloons. Also in 2017, nearly 2 lakh people were provided basic connectivity with Loon balloons in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria hit. In 2019, Loon's custom built temporospatial software defined network, that is Loon's SDN, is selected by Telesat, a leading global satellite operator, to support the development of their next generation low Earth orbit global communication satellites. In 2019, after an earthquake of magnitude 8.0 hit Peru, Loon balloons provided LTE connectivity within 48 hours. See, this is excellent. An earthquake 8.0 comes, within 48 hours the people there are able to access the internet. So, all these things are becoming due to the idea of providing mobile towers with the balloons. In 2020, Loon starts complementing terrestrial networks. In 2020, Loon and HAPS Mobile developed a communications payload for unmanned aircraft system. Similarly, there are Facebook's Aquilo drones program, SpaceX satellites, OneWeb satellites who are working in similar areas. Now, let us see the browsers. Until now, what we have discussed is about the project Loon. So, we have seen how the project Loon evolved. Now, we will discuss about the web browsers. Whenever we see the content of a web page that is available on a web address, what we will be doing is we will be visiting the website, and that is identified by a web address. And of course, we need a software application to find that website with that web address. This software application allows formatted display of information of the desired web page as well as possible interaction with the website. This software is known as the web browser. The information on a web page may be text, images, audio, video, interactive games, and many more. In addition, a web page may contain links called hyperlinks to other web pages on the same or different website. When browser displays these hyperlinks, on clicking these hyperlinks, we will get the display of a web page or a text or a table or a picture to which the link is referring in the web browser. Thus, a web browser is a software application that provides functionality to a client to display and interact with text and images and any other information that is located on a web server on the World Wide Web. And now let us see some web browsers about whom we will be learning a bit. And of course, the major browsers are Google Chrome, Microsoft Internet Explorer, and some more which doesn't have that much market share, but their features are extremely rich and we will be going through them also. For example, NCSA Mosaic, it is the first web graphical browser that was developed at the National Center for Supercomputing Applications in 1993. It was an easy to use web browser. It supported point and click interface which helped to popularize the web browser. Although all web browsers display the contents and format as per the standard versions of hypertext markup language, however, the appearance of a web page may differ from browser to browser. So, one needs to be very careful while making the web pages, because if they are testing it in a web browser, it may have a look, and when they test it with some other web browser, it may have a different look altogether. So, it is essential to test it in such a way that whatever is the web browser, the page needs to be rendered properly. Some of the web browsers available for personal computers are Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, Safari, Opera, Chrome, and there are some more. Now, just have a look at the image. You can see website in the browser. The website is IGNO website. Browsers basically provide some facilities which help users and save their time. When they are jumping from one website to another, that is doing internet surfing, browsers do not require you to log on to a server computer or a web server and later to log out when you have finished accessing information stored on the web server. Browsers allow you to directly visit a website stored on a web server computer. However, to do so, one must type the URL of the website which we want to access. URL is nothing but it is a uniform resource locator and is known popularly as website address. Alternatively, it is also possible to click on the hyperlink that refers to that website. Browsers allow us to create and maintain a personal list of favorite URL addresses that we are likely to frequently visit in the future. The list is stored on our own computer from which we are accessing the World Wide Web. Most of the browsers store our surfing information called history. Browsers maintain a history of the websites visited in a session. These save all the URL addresses visited during session in the computer through which we are accessing the World Wide Web. Browsers allow us to download information in various formats. The downloaded information can be saved for later use. Browsers come in various forms and capabilities. The currently available browsers can be classified into the three types. They are line browsers, graphical browsers, and Java enabled browsers. Now, first of all, of course, nowadays when we are thinking of a browser, we are using Google Chrome or we are using Microsoft Internet Explorer primarily, or maybe Microsoft Edge and any other browser. But at the same time, we don't think from the perspective of a line browser or a graphical web browser or a Java enabled browser. But the browsers which we are using today are having very rich features, and we don't need to really dwell into their features to decide whether we want to use them or not. Line browsers are text based browsers. They provide command line interface to its user. Line browsers are used to display only plain text. They cannot display images, audio and video and some more things. They display a hypertext link either by using numbers in brackets or by using boldface type. One of the most common line browser which was used is Linux. So Linux is a line browser which was very commonly used. It spells Lynx. It uses boldface type to denote a hypertext link. These browsers provide a very fast access to websites as they display only the text part. Now let's have a look at the image. It is the line browser in the image. Now let us see how graphical browsers work. And first of all, what are graphical browsers? A graphical browser is designed to overcome the problem faced in the line browsers, specifically relating to non-availability of images, audio, video and other things in the text browsers. Graphical browsers were designed to take advantage of the World Wide Web. It has the ability to handle all kinds of digital media such as images, databases, videos, audios and other things. So we need to use a mouse for navigation and for selecting information on a graphical browser. These require the web client computer to have graphics capabilities of handling and displaying multimedia data. There are many graphical browsers available today like Mosaic, Internet Explorer, Chrome and others. Now let us see what are Java enabled browsers. Java enabled web browsers are also known as second generation browsers. They were designed to overcome the limitations of the graphical browsers. It should be noted that the graphical browsers now have extensive features. Java enabled browsers are based on the Java programming language, but nowadays almost every browser is Java enabled. The browser also has the ability to dynamically download Java applets from the web server computers to a web client computers and execute these applets on the client computers. The example of a Java enabled web browser is Lobo. It is an open source web browser written completely in Java. Also Google Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Microsoft Edge and other browsers like Opera offer support to the Java applets and after enabling Java in them. So the first step is one has to enable Java in the browser, then Java applets are supported. Java browsers have advantages like portability, extensibility and security. Now whenever we are browsing, there are some common errors which we encounter in whatever website it is. So it's very common to face some error messages displayed in the browser. For example, let us consider some error messages while using Microsoft Internet Explorer. The error starts with a code which is called error code 52 runtime error. So 52 number followed by runtime error. It indicates a particular problem with the page which we try to access. Maybe server is down or whatever it is, but you are not getting the desired information. 400 bad file request, 301 unauthorized, 403 forbidden or excess demand, 404 file not found, 408 request timeout, then 500 internal error, 501 not implemented, 502 service temporarily overheaded, or overloaded, 503 service unavailable. Then apart from that, there are some more error messages such as bad file request, unable to locate host, host unavailable, connection refused by host, errors on the page, script error, runtime error, failed DNS lookup, file contains no data, network connection refused by the server. Now let us see some of the above error messages in detail. 52 is the code for the runtime error. This is a bad file name or a number error in the JavaScript. It means that the script cannot find a file or it is a connection problem. Then we have 400 bad file request. It means the syntax and in the URL are incorrect. So the syntax that is used in the URL is incorrect. So for example, maybe we typed uppercase letter instead of a lowercase letter, there is a wrong punctuation marks. Such things come under 400 error. 401 unauthorized. This particular error comes when the website server is looking for some encryption keys from the client and is not getting it. Then another error is 404 file not found. This error comes when server cannot find the file we requested. Refreshing the page should resolve this problem, although continued error messages may mean the page is no longer available. 500 internal error. This error comes when browser cannot retrieve the HTML document because of server configuration problems. 503 service unavailable. This error comes when server is busy. Site may have moved or you lost your dial-up internet connection. Bad file request means that this particular error comes only when browser may not support the form or other coding that we are trying to access. Then sometimes the message called unable to locate the host will be displayed. This error comes when host server is down. So it may one way say that this is incorrect URL and the internet connection is lost. Host unavailable. This error comes when host server is down. Refresher it, like once we have some information on the page, suppose we want to know whether the information is updated or not, we have to refresh it. So we refresh it or we go to the site later. Then there may be errors in the page, and these error messages occur when the browser has not read information from the web page properly or some items are missing from the web page itself. The problem normally affects the graphics on a web page. Runtime errors are those errors that happen when we are trying to browse which we have already browsed earlier, and then there are problems consequently. Runtime error can occur when upgrade enables the script debugging and script error notification options. File contains no data and it happens when the page is there but it is not showing anything. Error occurs in the document. Now let us briefly look at the history of the web browsers. The first web browser called World Wide Web was created in 1990 by the Sir Tim Berners-Lee. He then recruited Niccolo Pello to write the line mode browser, which displayed web pages on dumb terminals, and that was released in 1991. 1993 was a landmark year with the release of Mosaic, and it is credited as world's first popular browser. Its innovative graphical interface made the World Wide Web system easy to use and more accessible to the average person. This is in turn sparked the internet boom of the 1990s when the World Wide Web grew at a very rapid rate. Mark Anderson is the leader of the Mosaic team, who soon started his own company, Netscape, which released the Mosaic influenced Netscape Navigator in 1994. Navigator quietly became the most popular browser. Microsoft was able to gain a dominant position for two reasons. It bundled Internet Explorer with its popular Microsoft Windows operating system and did so as freeware with no restrictions on usage. Eventually, the market share of Internet Explorer peaked at over 95% in 2002. In 1998, it is called Netscape Navigator. It launched what would become the Mozilla Foundation, to create a new browser using the open source software model. This work evolved into Firefox, first released by Mozilla in 2004. Firefox reached a 28% market share in 2011. Apple released its Safari browser in 2003. It remains the dominant browser on Apple platforms, though it did not become popular elsewhere. Google debuted its Chrome browser in 2008, which steadily took market share from Internet Explorer and became the most popular browser in 2012. Chrome has remained dominant ever since. Microsoft released its new Edge browser in 2015 as part of the Windows 10 release. Internet Explorer is still used on older versions of Windows. In terms of technology, browsers have greatly expanded their HTML, CSS, JavaScript and multimedia capabilities since the 1990s. One reason has been able to enable more sophisticated websites such as web applications. Another factor is the significant increase of broadband connectivity, which enables people to access data-intensive web content such as YouTube streaming that was not possible during the era of dial-up modems. Now let's look at some of the common features of web browsers. They allow users to set bookmarks and browse in a private mode. They also can be customized with extensions, and some of them provide a sync service. Most browsers have these user interface features. They allow the user to open multiple pages at the same time, either in different browser windows or in different tabs of the same window. Back and forward buttons to go back to the previous page visited or forward to the next one. A refresh or reload button to reload the current page. A stop button to cancel loading the page. In some browsers, the stop button is merged with the reload button. A home button to return to the user's home page. An address bar to input the URL of a page and display it. A search bar to input terms into a search engine. In some browsers, the search bar is merged with the address bar. There are also niche browsers with distinct features. One example is text-only browsers that can benefit people with slow internet connections or those with visual impairments. Let's now look at some security features. Web browsers are popular targets for hackers who exploit security holes to steal information, destroy files, and other malicious activities. Browser vendors regularly patch these security holes, so users are strongly encouraged to keep their browser software updated. Other protection measures are antivirus software and avoiding known malicious websites. Now let's look at the market share. Google Chrome, it is having 68.11% market share, Mozilla Firefox 9.25%, Safari 8.93%, Microsoft Edge 5.13%, Internet Explorer 3.77%, Opera 2.37%, and the remaining browsers have something more than 0.1 but less than 1. So all the remaining are having less than 1% means that most of the websites are being browsed by Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox and Safari. So today what we have seen is we have seen the features of the browsers that are common, and then we have also seen the market share. Initially we discussed the evolution of the Google project Luna. In case you have any doubts or questions, please mail to pvsuresh@igno.ac.in. Thanks a lot.